Hey everybody, TJ here.
And Amiibo Jason checking in.
Like many of you out there, when Nintendo announced Super Smash Bros. For Switch, it put me in full-on hype mode. The brief trailer confirmed a 2018 release date as well as the inclusion of Inklings, presumably as new fighters, and also strongly hinted at new designs for at least some of the returning cast.
Don't think you can hide from me, Breath of the Wild Link. I know that luscious flowing hair anywhere.
But one of the most probing questions left unanswered is whether Smash Switch is a sequel or a deluxe port of Super Smash Bros. For Wii U and 3DS.
Now, pretty much the moment this game was announced, fans on both sides of this argument were sounding off on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, wondering what kind of game is this going to be? A port of the Wii U and 3DS version of the game, or something new completely?
But before we follow the clues and speculate any further, let's first establish how we define the term port. I challenge you to consider how this question is more difficult to conclusively answer now than ever before. We live in a time of season passes and DLC expansion packs. Publishers and game developers used to have to release an entirely new physical version of a game to make changes of any kind, add content, new modes, characters, or other features. Now we can easily patch in updates on a routine basis.
I mean, take a look at the latest update for Super Mario Odyssey, which included Luigi's Balloon World and 3 brand new costumes. It actually adds more content than the entire deluxe edition of Mario Kart 8 did, and it was completely free.
Nintendo Switch has certainly earned its reputation as a super port device. The Wii U boasted some of Nintendo's most innovative and captivating titles of all time. Combine that with its tragically low install base, and some underperforming gems were more than ripe for the port picking, including a day one straight port of the amazing Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. An enhanced deluxe edition of Mario Kart 8 followed soon after, adding new characters and a new battle mode.
Don't forget the recently announced Captain Toad, which is coming with brand new features, the re-release of Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition, and one of my favorite games ever, Bayonetta 1 and 2, which absolutely deserved a second chance.
And the Wii U's runaway new hit IP, Splatoon, garnered a Switch sequel, but Splatoon 2 more than borrows from the original. While Splatoon for Switch boasts character customizing options, new maps, music, and modes, the game plays more or less the same and is built from the same engine as the previous iteration. One might even argue, and I am, that Splatoon 2 doesn't really add anything that couldn't have been paid DLC for the first game had the Wii U garnered more gamer support. So what makes Splatoon 2 a sequel as opposed to an enhanced port like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe?
Simple. Nintendo put a 2 at the end of it.
Super Smash Bros. For Wii U and 3DS saw ongoing support from its initial release to the end of the Wii U's lifecycle. This ranged from new fighters and stages to balance patches to keep the game fun, fair, and competitive. In spite of the Wii U's lackluster sales, the game still enjoys strong support from the professional gaming community. So will Nintendo add a few new characters, new skins, a new mode, and dub it Super Smash Bros. For Wii U Deluxe now on Switch? While it would follow Nintendo's odd penchant for confusing naming mechanics,
that's right, I'm looking at you, new Nintendo 3DS.
The answer is, of course not. Super Smash Bros. For Nintendo Switch is going to be recognized as its own game. Why? Because, just like Splatoon, that's how I think Nintendo is going to serve it up. Now, does that mean I'm suggesting it's going to be a complete rebuild from the ground up? Not likely. I expect the Smash Switch title will heavily utilize the Wii U version as the foundation.
Now, with that in mind, that means new characters, stages, music, costumes, and yes, even Amiibo for years to come. And with Nintendo's recent push into the world of online and competitive gaming, we imagine Nintendo is ready to keep the content flowing until the Switch approaches the end of its life cycle. And if you remember just how much all of that Wii U DLC ended up costing when all was said and done, Nintendo stands to make a pretty penny by keeping the Smash train moving down the tracks. So expect a lot of DLC coming to the Switch.
So if they do reconstruct Smash Switch from the building blocks of a previous version of the game, is that such a bad thing? Smash for Wii U, in spite of a few justifiable criticisms that I imagine we'll visit in more detail in a later episode of this series, was widely well received and in my opinion, is the best Smash to date. Smash Switch stands poised to capitalize on everything the Wii U got right and distinguish itself with some polish and added content.
And don't forget, with the massive success of the Super Smash Bros. Amiibo line, one would expect that Nintendo would keep the figure battles intact when they release the newest installment later this year. And you know what that means? New Amiibo figures! Now, I could talk all day about what kind of Amiibo support I want to see in this game, but we would be here forever. We have a whole new episode dedicated just to that coming up. And with that said, I can't imagine any world where Nintendo would, for any reason, scrap Amiibo in this upcoming game, unless they don't like money.
This wouldn't be the first time Nintendo recycled assets from one game to create another. One of my favorite games of all time, The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, is built from the exact same engine as its predecessor, Ocarina of Time.
In fact, Majora's Mask actually started off as a master quest for Ocarina of Time that was to be released on the 64DD in Japan. You guys know about the 64DD, right? During development of the title, Aonuma was struggling to create dungeons that topped the ones that were already in the finished game. So, in secret, he started to create a brand new dungeon instead. Eventually, he approached Shigeru Miyamoto and asked if he could create a brand new game. Miyamoto agreed, but only if it could be done in 1 year's time. And guess what? It was. The finished product was Majora's Mask.
They even reused all the same character models. But no one would even think to suggest that Majora's Mask is an enhanced port of Ocarina of Time. The game is regarded unquestioningly as a sequel. But then again, adventure games like Zelda have the added benefit of a distinctly unique narrative. Fighting games aren't typically story-driven to begin with. The basic premise of every Smash game so far is exactly the same. Pick your favorite Nintendo character and go beat up your friends.
And unless Nintendo has a massive lapse in judgment, we can expect the same thing this time around too. Although we might see the return of the amazing Subspace Emissary. A deep and robust single-player experience is something that I believe Nintendo needs to do in order to keep Smash fresh. And with the Switch's heavy focus on handheld mode, more than ever you know players are going to be playing on their own this time around a lot more frequently. And if Nintendo is really looking to separate Smash on Switch from its Wii U and 3DS cousins, an amazing adventure mode is all you really need to make that a reality.
Even if Smash Switch strongly resembles what's come before, they wouldn't be the only fighting series to struggle with carving out a signature identity between releases. Just look at the grandfather of all fighting games, Street Fighter II, which is represented in Smash now courtesy of our special guest Ryu. Thanks for that, by the way, Capcom and Mr. Sakurai, for fulfilling my boyhood dreams of hitting Ganondorf with a Shoryuken! Street Fighter II has had so many different iterations that it's nearly impossible to keep track of them all, including one for the Switch. I mean, there's Street Fighter II, Street Fighter II Championship Edition, Street Fighter II Turbo, Street Fighter II Hyper Fighting, Street Fighter II Special Champion Edition, Super Street Fighter II, Super Street Fighter II Turbo, Street Fighter II X Grandmaster Challenge, Super Street Fighter II Turbo Revival, Super Street Fighter II Turbo HD Remix, Hyper Street Fighter II Anniversary Edition, and Super Street Fighter II Turbo with Knuckles, just to name a few. Each game added a little something new, a few new characters, a turbo mode, hyper mode, enhanced performance, sound, or graphics. But by and large, very few changes were made from one version to the next, which is why I think Capcom took so long to finally bestow the series with a 3.
In your opinion, does a new installment mean a new engine that's built from the ground up? Or can Nintendo reuse assets, movesets, and locations and still get away with considering it a new game? I think it's safe to say that TJ and I both agree that a new installment doesn't necessarily mean a completely new build, but we want to know, what do you think? What do you think Nintendo will do with this latest installment?
We love to speculate on Super Smash Bros. For Switch, and we know you do too. So I encourage you to join the conversation. Leave a comment in the comment section below on whether you think Smash Switch is the next step for the series, or just an enhanced port of the Wii U version.
We'll be reviewing all of the comments and selecting the best ones to discuss on an upcoming episode. Speaking of upcoming episodes, every single week we're going to be looking at characters we want to see added to Super Smash Bros. For Switch, and who Nintendo should give a shot to. Again, let us know who you would like to see in Super Smash Bros. Switch in the comments down below. You might see yourself in a future episode.
I appreciate all of you out there. Stay tuned for even more Smash Switch speculation, and thanks for playing. You stayed all the way to the end. I feel like I should give you some kind of reward or something. Oh, I know, but it's a secret to everybody, so shh.
Me v Me Season 3 is happening.